Hi Bestiedoes, welcome back to the channel. It's our final spoopy weekend. This weekend is Halloween. All of the spoopy juices are flowing and we're about to get into some crazy makeup because in today's YouTube video, we're doing a Halloween transformation. I literally have been putting off filming this video for so long because we're doing it all today. We're doing bald caps, we're doing prosthetics, we're doing body paint, we're doing shading. So I've been putting it off because I'm gonna be sitting in this makeup chair for the next 4 to 5 hours. So while I'm here clocking into this makeup shift, how about you go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up. Trust and believe that it helps out the channel a lot. And while you're at it, hit that big red subscribe button. And since you're there, just might as well click that bell notification so you don't miss a video that I upload in the future. Now, let's hurry up and get on with this because 4 to 5 hours. The first thing that I'm gonna do is block my brows. Now, there's many different ways that you can block your brows. I'm gonna quickly show you how I block mine. Just putting some alcohol on a cotton pad and then just rubbing this against my brows just so that way I can get rid of any excess oils because I want the brows to be completely clean for the glue that's gonna block them. Now, y'all are thinking 4 to 5 hours is so much, like how could it take this long? And it's honestly, it's not even the makeup part. Like the body paint is probably the easiest part. It's getting all of these prosthetics on because it's a lot of just like waiting for things to dry and like very carefully like applying, gluing. So like, that's honestly the hardest part. I'm just using a dry cotton pad to soak up any excess alcohol that might be on my skin. But the brows should be clean and ready for glue. Okay, I said glue and I literally mean glue. I'm using a regular purple stick of Elmer's glue. If you're using this glue method, make sure to get the purple stick because this one dries clear. It also is washable with water. But what you want to do is you want to rub this against the grain and just rub it back and forth until the brows are fully saturated with the glue. It should look like a hot ass mess. Now that the brow is fully saturated, I'm using a brow comb and I'm making sure to brush these all the way up so that way the brow hairs are evenly separated. If you don't have a tiny comb that you can use on your brows, you can also use a spoolie. The only thing with using a spoolie is that it's gonna get so messy with the excess glue. Like you see the glue that this picked up. On the comb, it's easier to just wipe this off. On a spoolie, it's a lot harder. This is honestly the way that my brows would look when I use my regular brow product. But we're gonna do multiple layers of glue so that way this eventually smooths out. So whatever paint I put over it will make the brow disappear. While this one dries, I'm gonna go ahead and do the other brow. This is a very time-consuming step because we're doing multiple layers of glue and in between layers, you have to make sure that the brows are fully dried. I'm going back in with a cotton pad and a little bit of alcohol just to clean up any excess glue that's around the brow. Now we just wait for these to fully dry. First layer is fully dry and the goal with blocking your brows is you basically want to glue your brow directly to your head. So that way, if I profile, you can see that the brow hairs are not sticking up. Like my brow bone continues to my brow. That's the goal. And then you also want to like fill in the gaps between your brow hairs so that way whatever product you put on top of it glides right over. But once the brows are fully dry, like you can run your fingers through them and there's no product, it's just like the stiff brow. You can continue on with the next layer. Second layer of glue. This time we're not rubbing the product willy-nilly because we already have the brows going in one direction, so we're just following that direction. When you're putting on the glue, you want to put pressure to help flatten the brow hairs. And because we already used the brow comb to like straighten out the hairs, we don't need to do that, but I will go back in with some alcohol and a cotton pad just to clean up around the brow. But these are fully dry, so I'm going in with layer number 3. Layer number 3 is dry, but I'm running my fingers back and forth on my brow and I can feel a lot of texture where you can still feel the brow hairs. So I'm gonna keep doing layers until the texture starts to disappear. Layer number 4. Okay, the brows are fully dry. I went ahead and did one more layer just to be safe, and it basically creates like a film over the brow once it's like fully dry, and that just helps you put product on top. So now that it's fully dry, we're moving on to the next step. Maybe I do another look with brow blocking, or maybe you just want to see a fully blocked brow. But for this look, this is enough. We're gonna continue, we'll get back to them once we start doing some body paint, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with my hair. For today's look, we are using the Mehron Makeup's bald cap. This kit comes with everything that you'll need for the bald cap. It comes with the liquid latex, it comes with the spirit gum, the bald cap itself. It even comes with like a little palette to help you like blend the bald cap to your skin tone. I'm also saving what I'm becoming for the end, so that way, you know, you can keep watching the video. It's called viewer retention. But I want the bald cap to be super flat, so I'm gonna put some product in my hair and then just lay my hair down so that way it's as flat as possible. So I'm gonna do that and then I'll be right back. The hair is looking a little crazy, but that's okay, it's going under a bald cap. I just made sure to like style it all the way back, put some product on it so that way when the bald cap sits on top of it, it can help like flatten this out. I'm just putting some alcohol on a cotton pad. I'm just making sure to clean up around the hairline and make sure the face is clean of any oils, very similarly to when we were blocking the brows. Now, I'm not an expert in putting bald caps on. The first time I put one on was when I did Cyborg for Teen Titans, and I want to say that for my first time, it was pretty good, but you could definitely see some like wrinkles in the bald cap, so I'm hoping that with like my one-time experience, I can do better this time. This is the bald cap. You can see that it's like cut, so you know that this is the back part. Just be very careful when you're moving the bald cap and adjusting it, because you want it to fit very tight on the head so there aren't all these wrinkles, but you don't want to pull too hard because then the latex will break. Honestly, I should have made this the thumbnail because I look so crazy. You can see that the bald cap goes all the way around. You want it to cover your ear for the sizing, and you want to just make sure that it's tight along the top. So I'm just like pushing down, and then any excess that I feel, I'll just like pull down. Depending on the look that you're going for, if you don't need to have ears exposed, you can literally just like start gluing. But for this look, I need ears. Right where your ear canal is, you want to draw a circle. Very small, literally right where the hole into your ear canal is, go ahead and mark that out. The smaller the cuts that you make with the latex, the better, because you can always go back and cut more, like if the latex is too big. If you do too much of a cut, you're screwed, and you're gonna have to get a whole new bald cap because these are a one-time use. They are not reusable. But once you have this tiny hole, you just want to draw a line down towards the chin, and just make sure that you're pulling the latex so that way there aren't any wrinkles up here. Okay, how cute are these Trixie Cosmetic scissors? These aren't for opening packages because they're so small, but they're so cute for like trimming eyebrow hairs, for cutting lashes, for cutting latex. So that's what we're doing today. Lifting this away from your skin so that you don't stab yourself. You just want to follow the shape of your cutout, and then you can cut and trim however you need, so that way this disappears. I'm gonna go ahead and do this to the other side, and then I'll be right back. Now that we have the ears poking through, we're doing some trimming, and what we're looking for is, if you see this wrinkling that's happening above the ear, that means there's too much latex back here. So I'm gonna pull this back over the ear, trim the smallest amount, because again, this stretches out, so the smaller the cut, the better. I'm just trimming a little bit of this ring that we made here. I'm just looking to see if the bald cap is wrinkling or buckling around the ear, and I'm just repeating that step until it is a cleaner process. Okay, so I cut so this is slightly larger. Also, it's very important that you make sure that this ends up being somewhat round. The reason you don't want like a straight cut back is because if there is no end to the cut, as you're stretching the latex, it's just gonna continue to tear. So that roundness helps keep the integrity of the bald cap. I'm gonna go back, cut some more, do the same to the other side, and then I'll be right back. Okay, both sides are good. If we stretch out the latex, there isn't any wrinkling or buckling behind the ears, and it's just smooth all the way down. Now we're gonna trim the excess. I'm gonna cut off right by the sideburns, heading all the way towards the top of the hairline, all the way to the other side. I'm gonna leave at least an inch of space, stretch out the bald cap, see how it fits, and then go back and do minute trims. Okay, I'm happier with how this is looking. Don't worry about the cuts being straight or even, because we're about to cover all of it with latex. These flaps are for the back. That also gets glued to the back of the neck, and it also gets trimmed, but we're gonna get to that later. We're gonna focus on the forehead right now. I'm gonna fold the bald cap just a little bit, just so I can apply the spirit gum. Now we're gonna apply spirit gum. I'm putting this right along the actual forehead. And since we folded the bald cap up, I'm also placing it on the bottom. And this will be the part of the bald cap that we fold over and lands on our skin. So we're basically creating like a spirit gum sandwich between the spirit gum that we have on our forehead and the bald cap, and they should both get tacky and literally just like clump together. Now, I'm not wearing this look out, so I'm not going crazy with the spirit gum because I'm literally only wearing this bald cap for this video. But if you are wearing this bald cap out, take your time with the spirit gum, let it fully dry so that it's fully tacky. And then that bald cap is not going anywhere, girl. The same way that you trust your lash glue to hold onto your lashes, this spirit gum is going to hold your prosthetics. You can kind of sort of see where it's shiny, where I put the spirit gum right on my forehead. I also added it to the flap. You can see that it's shiny there too. I'm gonna give this a few minutes, let it dry up, get tacky before I fold it over. Grab, yep. Yep, there we go. Okay, after you have this folded over, you want to grab a damp cloth and you want to use it to press down the bald cap. Okay, we're starting to get somewhere. Like imagine this back cut and then all of this one color. I'm bald. After this step, you just want to let this dry for about like 3 to 4 minutes before we continue with the back. The front is dry. We'll come back to it to do some liquid latex. Now we're going to work on the back. Very similarly to how we cut around the edges for the ear, we're doing the back as well. I'm not going to be able to do this on camera, so I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm basically doing the same thing and giving myself from 1/2 inch to 1 inch from where my hair is to where I'm cutting the latex. And I'm literally just like cutting and following the shape of the back of my head. So I'm gonna cut the excess off and then I'll be right back. The bald cap is cut. I had to go into my bathroom because I have mirrors set up so I could see the back of my head. And very similarly to what we did in the front, we're doing to the back. So I'm gonna fold this up. If you wanna imagine the back of my hairline to be like this, you wanna place the spirit gum on the edges and leave the middle without spirit gum. Because this is a latex bald cap, you will sweat. I'm already sweating. It's gross under here. It's not supposed to be a fun time. It may look fab, but under it, it's disgusting. You wanna make sure that as you're placing the spirit gum that you leave a gap in the middle, or I guess wherever you want to drain your head. It sounds gross and disgusting, but trust me, you're gonna wanna do it because if you're wearing this out, you go somewhere that it's hot, all that water is just gonna, if you do not leave an exit hole, all of that sweat is just gonna collect in your head and it's gonna be not a fun time. The back of my head is glued down. Let's move on to the next step. Now we're using liquid latex. You want to use the liquid latex to help blend the edge of the bald cap to your head. I'm using a beauty sponge, the liquid latex, just applying it to the sponge itself, and I'm just gonna dab it in sections. Now with the liquid latex, you do want to be careful because this dries quickly and it gets pretty tacky. And once it starts getting tacky, you kind of want to leave it alone because if you continue to go over it, the sponge will stick to it and it will lift the bald cap off. I don't want to play with it too much. I'm gonna let this dry a little bit and then I'll see if I need to do another layer of liquid latex. So I'll give it maybe about like 3 to 4 minutes, see if it dries down, and then we'll be right back. It's looking good. I'm using the Maron setting powder and I'm actually gonna place this inside the lid of another setting powder just so I have more surface area to grab. But I'm gonna start with a little bit. Like I feel like that much powder should be enough to set the edges of this bald cap. I'm just grabbing my puff and I am fully picking up this powder with the puff. Just grabbing a big fluffy brush to dust off any excess powder. The next few steps are going to be a little bit hard to do with the shirt on. So now let's move on to some prosthetics. But this next step is kind of a giveaway. We're putting on demon horns. So it came with a pack of 2. It's just like, it has like a big horn and a small horn. It's made out of latex, so we can apply this the same way that we did the bald cap. It should be pretty straightforward. Some spirit gum wherever we want to place the horns. I'm gonna place some spirit gum on the back of this prosthetic and make sure to really saturate the edges. Find where I want to place it and then just like stick it on. I fully saturated this with spirit gum. Before it gets fully tacky, I want to place it just so that way it leaves an imprint. So one, I can use it as a guide when I put this on, but that way the same way that we did for the bald cap, where we put Spericum on our forehead and also the bald cap. Now I have Spericum on the bald cap and then also the back of this prosthetic. So I'm gonna let them get a little bit tacky and then I'll be right back so I can apply. Okay, I went ahead and did the other one off camera. I'm still waiting for them to get tacky and I'm just like scrolling on my phone to kill some time. Am I the only one that gets fully drawn and trapped whenever this live feed comes on of this person that is playing Forza and they're driving and this like very calming song is in the back? Like, I don't know, something about this live, I'm weird, and like there are certain TikTok lives that like really get me. That one plus like Wood Soup. Whenever Wood Soup is on, I am stuck. Wood Soup has me in a chokehold. Let me know in the comments if you know what Wood Soup is, or like am I a loser and I just like Wood Soup by myself. Okay, I think it's time to apply. Wow, I'm having a good makeup day. Let me not jinx it before I do the body paint. But that laid down so easily. I'm gonna let these dry a little bit and I'll keep checking on them. Like any edges that come up, I'll just press them down. And then I'll be right back so we can put some liquid latex around this. These are pretty glued down, but I'm gonna do some liquid latex just because the latex on the prosthetic is a little thick. So I want it to blend easier to the face. I don't like that sound. This is looking so good and is framing such a good base for the paint that we're about to do, which is gonna be a whole other project in itself. But before I start painting my skin, I have to put my contacts in for two reasons. For one, this is the first time that I'm using sclera lenses, which are like bigger than usual contact lenses because it takes up most of your scleras, like it gets rid of the whiteness. And second, I am horrible at putting contact lenses on. Even like regular contact lenses, it takes me like 50 years. I end up crying, it's not a fun time. So yeah, I'm just gonna put the lenses on now so that way I can cry it all out and struggle without having any paint or makeup on my body so I don't ruin it. So I got the lenses from Moco Queen and we'll see how it goes. I've been so nervous to put these on because like I said, I struggle with putting lenses on already. And these are ginormous. However, the Moco Queen ones I purchased specifically because they said they were beginner friendly for sclera lenses. So these are thinner than usual sclera lenses, which makes me feel better because most of the videos that I've seen of people putting them on struggle with taking them out. Putting them on isn't such an issue, it's taking it off. And like, I don't even want to think about it. I just want to get them in my eyeballs and then get on with the look and figure it out later. All right. Oh boy, this is why I drink. This is ginormous. How the fuck? Literally, how does this enter my eyeball? The bottom is on. Oh, the bottom was not on. Okay, so like I have no problems like touching my eyeball. I guess because I do makeup and I'm used to it, like especially when I'm like filling in my waterline. But there's just something about a contact lens like entering. Literally, how the fuck? IDK girl, ID fucking K. Like I can't, can I do this? Oop, almost dropped the lens. Oh my god, oh my god. Ah! It's in. Wow, this is so creepy. Wait, I promise you I did that by accident. But surprisingly, they're not uncomfortable. Like I expected to feel them. I can definitely see them. Like the hole for my iris is so small. So I can definitely see the lens. But I want to say that I probably feel regular contact lenses more than these. I'm gonna waste up my memory card with just minutes of me fidgeting with this damn lens. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on and then I will come back when I'm ready to paint. For this look, I'm using the Maron water activated paints. I'm debating between this like bright red and this like burgundy. I'm gonna swatch both and see what it looks like. Okay, this is the brighter red, which actually is pretty dark already. So I don't think that this burgundy shade is gonna be the one. Why do they look the same to me? Am I seeing this? Am I crazy? Yeah, they like look the same to me. Am I on drugs? It might be the lenses, but I have more of the darker paint, so I'm just gonna paint myself with that darker paint. I'm using a pretty large paintbrush, and I think this is like an actual paintbrush to like paint on canvas. When doing body paints, when you have to cover large portions of your body, like the larger the paintbrush, the more surface area you get, so the easier it is. So honestly, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna put this red everywhere, literally everywhere. All right, y'all get it. I'm putting the paint on, girl. Nothing crazy happening here. I'm gonna finish this up and then I'll be right back. This is one coat on. I'm gonna see if it dries a little bit so I can maybe put another coat before I have to set it. While I'm waiting for the paint on my head to dry, I'm using a smaller flat brush and I'm gonna dip into the pink because I am gonna highlight with pink. I'm trying to quickly place the product down because I want to blend this out before it dries. I'm just gonna grab a beauty sponge and I'm gonna try to blend this in. Okay, we're blended out. I'm very into this. I feel like once we set it and add dimension with powder, it'll all make sense. Trust the process. But like you can see like how yellow and orange this is because the red can't fully cover the latex in one coat. So I'm just gonna continue painting the rest of my body and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the amount of body paint that I put on. I feel like the rest of it is gonna come together with the shading with powder. And before I set this, one tip that I have, when you're doing body paint, if you're giving yourself a different skin tone, like me, for example, that I'm turning myself red, whatever color it is, something that makes body paint look a little bit more realistic is freckling. Something about freckles just makes the skin look more natural. Yeah, already know the deal. I don't want my hand to get too messy, but I'm grabbing a spoolie, dipping it right in water, and I'm dipping into the brown shade and then just literally flick it anywhere that you want these like random freckles. And if you want, you can go back in with a liner or even just like a detailed brush, dip it into the paint if you want to do like detailed freckles. But I'm gonna freckle the shit out of my body and then I will be right back. Now, we just have like a shit ton of paint on our body. We have to set everything in place. I'm going back in with the Mehron setting powder and I'm putting quite a large amount. I'm grabbing about that much powder, fully saturate the puff, and wherever there is paint, you want powder. This is super important, especially if you are wearing this look out. This will help the look last longer because you don't want to sweat the paint off, especially if it's like water activated. If you do not look like you were just rolling in a bunch of flour, then you are not setting your body paints enough. This looks so crazy. But everything is set. Go ahead and grab a big fluffy brush and then just wipe off any excess powder. Okay, we are powdered and ready to add definition. I want to work on the eyes. I purposefully left like some space on the lid free. I'm using a small detail brush and I'm dipping into the brown water activated paint. And I'm going to use this kind of almost like an eyeshadow primer. Now I'm gonna focus more on the eyes. I'm grabbing the Kimchi Chic Beauty Spinning Hearts palette. Y'all already know this is my go-to for nudes, but this has a chocolate brown that I feel like will set this perfectly. I'm dipping into that dark chocolate shade and I'm using this to basically set the lid. So I don't need this demon to be giving glam, but you know, something that'll just give more dimension. Like, I can so get into that. I'm gonna very carefully bring this down to the bottom lash line. I'm actually gonna buff out the edge with a red. From the same palette, there's this like cinnamon color. I'm gonna use that to buff out the edges of this brown. All right, let's add some dimension to the face and body now. I'm using the Kimchi Chic Beauty Maple Baking Glaze palette because this dark chocolate and this like dark red, I feel like I can mix these together and use that as a shape to contour. So now we're just adding definition to the face. So I want to chisel out the jawline. I definitely want to give myself like some cheekbone. I want to add a little bit of blush just so I can blend in this contour to the red of the skin. So I'm going to use the Kimchi Chic Beauty Theater blush. That is some high pigment blush. Literally, what does a makeup look without blush? Yeah, are you kidding? That looks so good. Now this isn't necessarily going to give blush, but because the skin is like literally red, it, like that pinkness just helps give this a little. Now that the blush is on, we're gonna bake. I've been using so many Kimchi Chic beauty products and you can use these for like everyday glam. You don't necessarily have to turn yourself into a demon. And if you're shopping Kimchi Chic Beauty online, don't forget to use code cacidoe for 15% off your purchase. Because we contoured, I'm placing this bake on areas that I want to highlight. So by doing this, I'm like carving out the hollows of my cheeks so it just looks more... Everywhere that I'm baking right now is going to be a little bit lighter than before because we already have some darker dimension from the contour that we did and some of the blush that blends it all together. When I wipe this all off, it should be a nice even blend. So I'm gonna let this sit for a little bit and then I'll come back to wipe it off. Let's start to get rid of this bake. Okay, this is most of the body paint complete. I'm gonna do some finishing touches, like literally finish my arms, add some shading down here to my torso, do a lip, decide if I want to do a lash or not. I feel like no lash is giving, but like, I don't know. We'll see. I'll do some finishing touches and then I'll be right back with the final look. Boo. Are you painting the town red to me right now? Wow, okay, so this is the full Halloween transformation all complete. The finishing touches were real small. All I did was put on a black lip and then I added kind of like a little detail. So like the top of the lip, if you can see, like points up, like little horns. And then I extended the ends just so that way the smile line is a little bit longer. I feel like it's just a little more creepy. From there, I added like a little bit of highlight. I went back in and like reinforced some of the freckling with some black liner just so that way like it translates better. And finished painting my arms so that way it gives the full fantasy. You've been here for what, like 20-30 minutes and it's literally 3 o'clock in the morning and I started this at 7 p.m. So please don't forget to give your love and support because 7 hours of makeup. I'm so mad that I don't have an event to go to. I'm like fully living this like demon nude, like she's kind of eating but that's it. We went through a lot. We went through prosthetics, we went through bald caps, we went through these giant ass lenses, we went through blocking your brows, painting your body. It's a lot of stuff. So let me know down in the comments what you think about the look. Let me know if you'll try out any of these tips or tricks for your Halloween looks this weekend. If it wasn't obvious, I clearly love Halloween, so I would love to see all of your looks, so please tag me in all of them. But I think that's it. I think that's all I have for you. If you would like to see some vertical screen content, you can find me at cacidoe on all social media platforms. But that's it for spoopy season. Enjoy your Halloween weekend. I will see you beautiful beings on the next one. Bye. Mwah. I wanted to come back here so stained because I thought it would be funny to end the video after removing all of that makeup and just having patches of red and me just sitting here like, paint yourself red, they said. It'll be fun, they said. But I mean, it did take 3 showers and like a lot of scrubbing, but I got it all off. So like, I'm ending the video with this. Bye y'all, happy Halloween.